Not
I
anymore.
just because no program has been funded again. I think that Fugal, this is just my personal opinion. I have no idea, and this would be great to get to ask Fugal.
Right.
Is like, okay, you went into the meeting. What type of meeting was this? Like a pitch to get a program, and then because it wasn't funded, did he just start the show instead? Like, I'm
Right.
gathering all this
Right.
data, I'm doing all this stuff. I can't get funding from the government. Maybe I'll just make this into a show and then kind of release what I find during this publicly, sort of that in that way. I think a lot of the appeal and interest in Skinwalker Ranch is from the public and the community, but I'm not sure so much of the government, although I'm sure they're still keeping their tabs on it.
Hence, like I
And
mean,
the eminent domain. Remember in the UAPDA, Fugal and Taylor publicly came out and said, we're not going to support this. We don't want the government coming into Skinwalker and just grabbing stuff. So that's
right.
another motivation for it too. Maybe he doesn't even
Well,
want it.
yeah, well, I think a lot of people were against eminent domain.
Yeah.
Even people like Jacques Vallée, who, stood up at Saul conference and
Yep.
said, like, where does it stop? Where would that stop? Could the government just walk into his house and take the materials that he has
Yeah.
and has had for years? And I think that eminent domain is really um, what failed the passing of that act. But I mean, do you see any hope for it in the future
I think one of the things
without
that
eminent domain?
I think one of the things that the community and activists wanted the most was that presidential panel, like the panel that can
The
review a
review
lot of these
board.
cases.
Yep.
Yeah, the review board. So I think that if that's included, that would be really big. Eminent domain. I'm not really sure about the reach that would do or how that would affect other people. I'm sure a lot of people like Valet and Fugal that have maybe some of these materials. But again, like we want to see that. Like if
Right.
they're not really even releasing it publicly. So it's kind of frustrating. It's like these guys have it. They're just not even releasing it still. They're scared that someone's going to come take it. It's like, well, we don't even know anything as the public.
Right.
So
Right. And kind of just leaves us in the dark and they wonder why we speculate.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's like they wonder why we fucking speculate. It's because we're in the dark on everything. Jesus, my God. But listen, I want to get you were there the night that so you were there the night that Sands come out,
Sure.
and I want to talk to you about it. Um, do you think you did a great job, by the way, hosting that? I
Thanks.
will say
Yeah.
I
Was not
covered it on.
expected, bro. Like it just
Yeah.
came out of the blue.
Yeah, and this topic is unexpected. I didn't even think I was gonna bring it up. Um, but, I wanna bring it up because I don't know when the next time you'll be able to be on the show is.
Mm.
So you were on that panel. I mean, you hosted that Twitter Spaces. What did you take away from his testimony? Do you think he's legit? And do you think any connotation with this 20 and back program, even though he has clarified since then about what he was referring to, do you think any connotation towards that 20 and back program and the baggage that it holds will damper this man's endeavors?
I think initially it has because it was brought up a few times and he answered it, but for the space itself, like it was so spontaneous of him coming up that it was just weird in the space that he decided to show up at because everybody was just kind of bullshitting. One of the things though is people were kind of like speculating on what he was like. Nobody knew who Jason Sands really was. And so we were just discussing on like, oh, in the James Fox documentary, like, I wonder what this whistleblower is going to say. And like,
Right.
there were a little bit of spaces and some podcasts that sort of like were mentioning him and then getting kind of shut down media wise. Spaced Out Radio was one. And so like people are starting to speculate and talk about him. And I think he just got to a point where like imagine you being in a space and everybody's like talking shit about you. And like
Right.
you'd want to come up and be like, listen, guys, like you guys got it all wrong. I think he wanted to do that quickly, and then it turned into this historic space because
Right.
somebody just asked a question like, "Wait, are you the whistleblower from James Fox documentary?" And he's like, "Yeah," and everybody's like, "Wait, what?" And
Wait, what?
so then I had to be like, "Skirt, okay, host mode," because I was co-hosting the space, so I went from like wanting to ask questions to like managing the room, and it got where there was like 500 or so. There's like 1,000 people in the room, 30 requests were going on. So
All
it's
at
trying to like
once.
managing. Yeah,
Yeah. And you did a great job with getting people and their questions in and yeah, man. What a I like and it's obviously obviously the just that space was not recorded. And, like,
yeah,
of course, that night,
yeah.
that one time, it's not recorded.
Right.
And no, there's no playback on it. And it was on 420. Uh, and like the stars aligned, I guess, for Mr. Sands because he just came out and just fucking blew everyone's minds. But I I
But just imagine,
I
bro. Imagine it like you've been on spaces.
yeah,
Now, imagine that you're the focus of 6 hours and you've never been on a Twitter space before, ever up speaking. And all of a sudden you're just thrusted and everything that you say is now under a microscope. And so he said a few things, the 20 and back. Um, I kind of forget the other ones that were controversial, but that's one of the main ones. And I think that like the community just like
the secret space
discounting
program in general.
yeah, just discounting everything that he said because he answered in a way where, he acknowledged that like he was part of some program, and then it kind of got associated with this 20 and back Corey Good program, which he's
Yeah.
come out and sort of clarified this like that's not really what he was talking about. So I think most of the community now, the bigger picture that I see from this is that now the community has had experience directly asking questions and some tough questions to whistleblowers, and then us being able to research and flush out that information. And what I think frustrated some people higher up, like James Fox, maybe Leslie Keene, Chris Mellon,
Was
controlled
that
disclosure folks, was
was
that he did that, was
that
that he
he
came
did.
out on a space and that he was supposed to just chill until James Fox documentary. And then instead he came out and basically said more probably than we're going to hear in the James Fox documentary, including his personal experience with the blue aliens. So it's kind of like
Well, so
people were like,
so
whoa,
so so that is uh, so that's what I wanted to talk to you about because there's been a lot of confusion about that aspect because again, it was not recorded
yeah.
and you can't find it. So can you do me one favor and recount and to your best ability recount his story about the blue alien and um I think I know he said that in the space, like, he texted James Fox and James Fox, you know, there's nothing really James can do about it.
Yeah.
Pending an NDA, which I doubt that the NDA went as far as you can't tell your story ever to
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work that way. Um, and I definitely think that like you said, the controlled disclosure people like James, especially James, because he has a lot of vested interest
Yeah.
you know, in this, as well as Leslie, my season finale guest, oh my god. I can't believe
Was it
I
Ralph
can't believe
Blumenthal?
no, I cannot believe I just did that. So my season finale guest is Danny Sheehan,
Oh,
and,
yeah, nice.
um, yeah, yeah, I can't believe I forgot his name. I'm gonna edit that out, definitely. Oh shit, this is live. Forgot, joke's on me, but, yeah, so I'm definitely gonna talk to Mr. Sheehan about it, but can you tell me the story about the blue alien? Because I couldn't get that.
Yeah, and I think that to me, I think the James Fox it's sort of split up in two different things. His experience and knowledge of the program, this like crash retrieval secret program, and then what's separate from his experience with these extraterrestrials or non-human intelligence. So I think a lot of James Fox documentary to me will probably be focused on his involvement in that program of basically like gathering information about these crash retrievals within it, and less about like he's an experiencer. That's just my opinion. But
Right.
for the experience, he was given direction from some authority to go on this trip, and he was given specific directions not to go to this certain place, to go by this certain area. And him, and I believe he was with one other or two other people, went to this place. They were like, like when
Yeah,
you somebody
whatever,
tells you
yeah.
don't to go there, you're like,
Yeah,
ah.
first place I'm going.
So they go there, and all of a sudden there's this blue uh non-human like alien, and they ask him like, can they have a part? Like they're looking for this part. They need to fix their ship, I believe is the story. It's a little bit hazy for exactly what he said, but I can share too his account of it. But basically they were looking for this part, and he was like, well, you probably need to go over to Area 51 and talk with those guys. And the alien said, no, we can't go there. They hurt uh they hurt aliens or something like that. It's something to that effect. And so that was sort of like their exchange
Again, you're
that they had.
paraphrasing just for
Yeah.
everybody watching.
Yep. No, yeah,
Okay.
it's not fresh in my memory, but that was kind of like the gist of what happened. They saw a physical being. The being needed help with repairing their ship, which is weird that they would like come ask us. It's like, what are we gonna do? Like, yeah, let me
Right.
get my transistors out and
Hold on, yeah, I got my alien tech in the garage over here. Hold on. 1 minute, I'll be right back. Got my alien screwdriver.
But the
Um,
alien or the Area 51 thing comment is interesting when they're like, no, we ain't going over to Area 51. Like that's
how
dangerous for
close
us.
were they to Area 51 where
I'm
that would
not
even
sure.
be like a point they
Yeah,
point out?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
So that's an interesting aspect, you know? Was he out in the desert, and went somewhere in the desert where you shouldn't go,
Yep.
you know? And oh no, I'm just saying, again, speculation, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, I can't be more congratulatory towards you and what you're gonna achieve with Need to Know.
Yeah, I'm
And
excited, dude.
I'm so excited to see what you do with the show and how you progress it and how each episode gets better, and with your help I know it will. So I mean, feel free to stick around for the rest of the show, man. But we're gonna cover some stuff here. So there are so did you hear, if you are gonna stick around, we'll
Yeah, I'll
be
stick around for
right.
a little bit for like 10 or 15 minutes if that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, cool. All right, so we'll be right back, guys. All right, so Michael Herrera came
Mhm.
on the podcast. And actually, you know what? Let's go with the directed energy weapons because you're here. In the Michael Herrera thing, I think I think I'll do that part alone just
Cool.
because. But I want to play a quick video, two quick videos, and then we're gonna talk, because it has to do with you and it makes more sense, because it has to do with Ross Coulthart and directed energy weapons.
Not too long back, where he actually speculated that the United States and other nations may have directed energy weapons. Now, can you comment? Does the US have secret DEW weaponry, and is any of that positioned on satellites in space?
No, I can't comment with regard to U.S. force capabilities, Ross. I'm sure you can, and your viewers can
Sure.
understand why. But with regard to the capabilities that we have. It's very important that we have a full range and a full complement of capabilities to